Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here to do a very casual part 2 to my Q&A. I have about 30 questions, so I'm not going to spend too much time on any of these questions, but these were all quite unique questions, and I will try to insert the question here so you can see it. But I'm here in my office, so it's a little bit of a different background. I'm sitting at my desk, and that is my husband's desk, so if you're wondering. And also it's pretty casual. I'm in my PJ top, which actually says pause for peace. I don't know if you can even see. Let's see. There you go. You can see it now. Anyway, it's just this big oversized comfy t-shirt. So just grab a cup of coffee or some hot tea and just decaffeinated and sit back and enjoy the Q&A. So the first question is there a book that you love right now that you think could become a classic in the future? And I never really thought about this. I always think of classics that are classics now. But I think that The Hunger Games could be a classic in the future. When I think of groundbreaking writing and world and characters, that's one of the books that I think could become a classic in the dystopian genre for sure, just because the writing's great, the characters are great, and the whole trilogy. But usually I have noticed that classics aren't trilogies or series, they're like standalone books, so I don't really know how that would be. There's not like a particular book. It's hard to view a book that I'm loving right now becoming a classic. The next question, if you could only leave one book for your future prosperity, like grandkids after you die, what would that book be? That's a very, very hard one because everybody's reading tastes differ, but I would leave my favorite book of all time, most likely, which is The Giver. I guess it would just depend. Yeah, but I'll say The Giver. Is there any song that you associate with a particular book? I definitely think of the playlists from Amy and Roger's Epic Detour when I read that book, but I'm not a huge music person. I often do not associate music and books together, but if a book has a particular playlist, or if it's been in the movies, all of the Harry Potter movies, when I hear that tune in my head, I think of the Harry Potter books. So any song that's done in the book to movie adaptation movie, I will think of, or if there is a playlist associated with a book and I know about it, I usually think of those songs. Okay, my question is, if you could only read one book for the rest of your life, how many times you want to, but you could only ever read that particular book, which one would you choose? So I would obviously choose The Giver by Lois Lowry because it is my favorite book of all time. And also that is what inspired me to want to write my novel. But I would also maybe pick the Bible because I've never read the entire Bible, but I think it's a very important piece religiously as well as for literature, and yeah, that's for my morals and my values. So definitely one of those. When the day comes that you decide to stop making videos, what is the legacy you would like to leave behind? I guess the legacy I would love to leave behind is to love literature, to open yourself up to the experience of literature and what it can teach you from, how people handle things differently, how everybody is not the same and that diversity is okay. It teaches you to learn and to continue learning and growing. Next one, which author, booktubers, bookstagrammers, book people do you look most to for inspiration to help you grow and become a better reviewer? Let's see, that's really hard. Bookstagram, I have a lot of accounts that I follow, and I actually did a video on this quite a while ago. I should probably do an updated video on some of my favorite bookstagrammers. But I do love you, Alex, and I definitely love your feed. But I think I made this pretty clear that I started my channel in particular because of Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey. I just watched her for years and years and years, and it just seemed like her personality and my personality were so similar. And yeah, so I decided to make a channel, and I reached out to her saying, yeah, I think I'm gonna start a channel. And she was like, go for it. And she was my first subscriber to my channel, and we don't talk as often as I wish we did, but I know she's busy and I'm busy, so you know. But for inspiration, I gather inspiration from everywhere as far as bookish people. I get video ideas from them. I get picture ideas from them, but I never steal. Since I've been doing booktube, how would I say your reading has shifted? I do read a lot of YA now. I didn't do that much before booktube. I also read a lot more than I did, but I don't think that necessarily is because of booktube. I just think that was the time in my life, because I always go through these periods where I read a lot and then I'll take a few years off and then I read a lot. When I would go to the store before, I was very much a browse type person, or it was the newest Patricia Cornwell. So I was either browse for something that would catch my eye, or I would look for the newest Patricia Cornwell. And now I have specific books that I am looking for because of recommendations, or I'm finishing up a series or a trilogy, etc. So those are a couple things, Patty. Okay, the next question is from Nena, and she asks me, what's my favorite thing about being in my new home? Oh my gosh, Nena, there's so much I love about being in my own home. The first one is that we have a little bit more space. The second is that we have a yard. And while that can kind of be a bad thing because now you have yard work to do and stuff like that, it's just so nice. We have a small fenced in backyard that I'm sure you have seen, but we can just let my dog outside in the backyard and she can do her business. We don't have to like bundle up and take her outside and walk her to get her to go like we did at the apartment. I also just like a space that's like truly my own. I can change it. I can rearrange it. I could, you know, knock a hole in the wall if I wanted to. We can paint any color we want. It is different. If anything goes wrong, we're responsible for it. But I feel like when I lived in the apartment, it was my husband's apartment for many years before I actually moved in with him. So it was very much his aesthetic, and this house is much more my aesthetic. And I just love having a place that we're building together rather than he already kind of had it. I'm trying to infuse myself into that place, if that makes any sense. Next question, are the squashes on my shelf behind me real? This is back like when I originally asked, but yes, they were real during the fall time. Which book has made the most impact on your life? And that is definitely, without a doubt, The Giver by Lois Lowry. The reason why I say that is because all of the years that I've been reading, I enjoyed books. I loved books. I devoured books. You know, I thought they were my favorite. But when I finished The Giver, I realized what it was like to have a favorite book. And that book just changed my mindset. It made me want to write a novel. It made me want to collect multiple copies of the book. And I actually reached out to the author, and I've never done those things before. So definitely that book. For my top 3 anticipated releases for 2017, I really do not know. I feel like it's nearing the end of 2016, and I still have so many books that I was anticipating for this year to read still. Releases for 2017, maybe I'll make a future video about it because I'm not really sure at the moment. I have been so busy with work, I haven't even been able to research any new releases. What is one genre you'd like to read but you have yet to? I don't think that there's any genres that I have not read. I believe that I have read, I did a video, a response type video a while ago called What is Genre? A Response or something like that. And I listed off of like the internet all these different genres, and I think I've read, you know, all of them, I believe, at one point or another. One that I would like to read more of are like biography memoirs. I'd also like to read more thriller mysteries, suspense novels, because I've kind of those have taken a back seat to my contemporary romance slash fantasy slash other stuff I've been reading. So yeah, those are a couple. When choosing a book to read, what helps you decide? The cover art, description on the back, the author. Definitely the author, definitely the cover, definitely the synopsis, and recommendations. What's one book you wish would never end? I think all books need an ending. I think every story has an ending. I would love the Giver world to go on and on and on, but I found that I loved the Giver the best, and it had a great beginning, middle, and end, and the other books in the quartet were great, but the Giver really stuck out to me. So I just think that each story tells its own ending. Does that make sense? If I could trade places with any character, who would you want to be? I don't think I would want to be with any character other than myself, because I love my life. I have a great job that I love. I love my husband. I love my family. I love my animals. And I mean, what more could I possibly need or want in this lifetime? Do you have to go to books when you're feeling, what are my go-to books when I'm feeling down or ill? And really, I don't have any specific books for that. I just read whatever I'm currently reading or what I'm in the mood to read. Are there any book series you wish were written by you? Well, absolutely. I would have loved to have written The Giver. I would have loved to have written the Throne of Glass series. I've only read the first book, but she's absolutely, made an empire on that series. I would have loved to have written the Harry Potter series. I mean, who out there doesn't wish that? Probably my number one is Harry Potter, obviously. Do I reread books? If so, which one is your comfort read? I don't often reread books. I did reread The Body Farm at the beginning of this year, and I haven't reread any other books this year, including The Giver, which is a shame. I just feel like there's always new books out there to read. I would love to reread books. I just have never had the chance to. Let's see. What's my most anticipated new release coming out this winter? My winter release, if you count Heartless, that was in November, but that was the one I was really anticipating for the end of the year. Do you draw on your book or just leave the drawings to the ones who have talent? I am definitely not talented when it comes to drawing, so I definitely leave that to others. What's my top favorite quote from a book? I can't think of my favorite off the top of my head. What's your top favorite book cover? I really fell in love with The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. If you were a Funko Pop figurine, which pose, clothing, expression, etc. would you have on? I have no freaking idea. Probably just like, I'd probably just be standing there. Maybe I'd be in like my teacher like cardigan with, like leggings. I'm always wearing like leggings and like an oversized sweater. So probably that, and yeah, have my teacher pose, like maybe with a ruler or something. I don't know. But that was a very interesting question. If you could choose one book to read all your life repeatedly, which book would you choose? I guess you can think it by now, right? The Giver, because that's also the inspiration for my novel. So the more I read that, the more I feel in the mood to write my book. So, okay. If I could live in any book, what would it be? I've already told you that. I probably wouldn't live in any book. But if I could live in a book knowing like the outcome or, how to defeat that environment maybe, I don't know. I'd probably like to live in The Hobbit just because I love the Shire, but as long as I could stay in the Shire and it was a happy place all the time. Let's see. And of course Hogwarts, I'm going to say, because I would just love to go to Hogwarts, but I don't want to defeat Voldemort or anything like that because that is just too scary for me. Let's see, which question? Which book would you like to see made into a movie? I'm not really sure because sometimes they're successes and sometimes they're not. The Giver has already been made into a movie. I know there's a lot of TV adaptions coming out and movie adaptions in the new year. So like fingers crossed we get some good ones. And I don't often get to watch movies, so I'd probably miss it anyway. I mean, I still haven't even seen Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. If you were only able to keep 3 books, what would they be? Girl in Pieces, The Giver, and my Bible. My question is, what is your favorite book to movie TV adaptation? Do you have a least favorite? Like I said, I don't get to see very many movies. I really did think they did a great job with the Harry Potter movies, and I really think that they did a good job with the Hunger Games movies. Let's see. If I could make a time capsule to open in 20 years, name the top 5 books that would be included. Books that people should still be reading in 20 years. The Harry Potter books, Girl in Pieces, The Giver, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I don't know. What TV show or movie would you like made into a book series, and what are some of your bookish pet peeves? Which TV show would I like turned into a book series? That's a hard one because sometimes I think the shows that I watch wouldn't really translate well. Let's see, what shows do I really watch? Oh, This Is Us. That is like probably my standout show of fall, and I would love to have that been a book. I think it would have made a really great book because they could have gone like even more in depth with the characters. And if you haven't seen that show, I highly recommend it. It is so good. Bookish pet peeves. I hate when they put stickers in graphic novels over the artwork and the words, and you can't tear them off easily. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I understand why they do it, but it defeats the purpose of having a brand new book if it has this big stinky sticker over the artwork and the words. Another bookish pet peeve is when they decide to do like a redesign in the middle of the series, whether that be a cover change, size change. Let's see what else. I hate that the resale value on books isn't, you know, it's like after you read a book, it's used then, and you can't get like full price from it. Like, why are hardback books so expensive? And why do some books get published in paperback form right away, like the Colleen Hoover books? It's also frustrating that books are so cheap on Amazon, but they're so expensive in the store. And then all these bookstores are closing, and it's like you wonder why, because your prices are like so expensive. So those are some of my bookish pet peeves, or bookish stuff, you know, that like annoys me. Those are all of the questions that I got for this Q&A. Let me know down in the comment section if you have any other burning questions that I didn't happen to answer. But that's all I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed this casual Q&A part 2, and I'll see you again in my very next video. Bye!